I'm Stacy Malone. I'm the VP of Global Business Marketing at Pinterest. And this is my first DMEXCO, so I'm so excited to be here with you all. Now, I'm a marketer, and you all are marketers. And I think there's never been a more challenging time to be a marketer. It's harder than ever to break through and get attention. We've got new measurement and tracking challenges. We've got uncertain economic times. These are all pressures that we're all dealing with. But during challenging times tends to be moments of opportunity. So today we're going to talk about the opportunity to leverage Pinterest to help grow your business. But first, let's talk about what makes Pinterest unique. People come to Pinterest to plan. They come to Pinterest to plan and then turn those plans into a reality. Moving through the journey from discovery to decision to do, from making plans for everyday moments, like what to have for dinner, but also for those big life-changing moments, like a wedding or remodel. Over 475 billion pins have been saved globally on Pinterest, and more than 10 billion Pinterest boards have been created. Now that's a lot of inspiration. Pinterest is also a place for personalized shopping. In fact, over half of the people that come to Pinterest come specifically to shop. We offer shoppers a safe place where consumers can truly focus and invest in themselves. Pinterest is just a place for everyone, because guess what? Inspiration is just a universal human need. No matter your age, gender, background, the country you live in, we all want to be inspired. In fact, Gen Z is our fastest growing and most engaged audience. They tell us they come to Pinterest to express themselves, to manifest the life they love. In fact, Gen Zers are now calling Pinterest the manifesting app. Now, because people plan on Pinterest, they come to us in market, but undecided and open-minded. That's a pretty amazing target audience for marketers. For example, 97% of the top searches on Pinterest are unbranded, meaning that people come with a general idea of what they want, but they don't know specifically what they want. And that's an amazing opportunity for marketers. Because on Pinterest, your ads are actually additive to the consumer journey. By showing up on the platform at the right time, where people are actually searching for products like yours, you can actually enhance their shopping experience. Now let's talk about purchasing power on Pinterest. These days, we know it can take multiple touch points to get that shopper to make that final purchase. And on Pinterest, your ads can reach people at every step in that purchase funnel. Newstar did a 2-year multi-touch attribution study. And what they found out was 91% of the people that converted on Pinterest had actually seen an ad in the middle of the funnel. But what was more interesting is that the consumers on Pinterest, their shopping carts tended to be 30% larger than on other platforms. We love that. Now, we are continually building new products to help your marketing work harder for you. So here are some quick highlights. First, one of our latest releases is called Premier Spotlight. It's a new high-impact unit, focuses on awareness and brand building, really lets your brand stand out. We are also focusing on innovations in the bottom of the funnel. This is what we heard from a lot of you. You wanted more performance-driving ad units. So, for example, implementing our API for conversions will give you more visibility into your marketing performance, giving you credit for all the work that you're doing. While our new feature, Direct Links, actually sends people directly to your website and therefore accelerating the path to purchase. But one of the biggest reasons why I came to Pinterest is how it makes people feel. People continually tell us that on Pinterest they feel more positive, more inspired than on other platforms. In fact, 9 out of 10 people say that Pinterest is an online oasis. Isn't that lovely? For more than a decade, we have focused on putting people's well-being front and center. And this matters for brands too. In our latest research of the German market, we saw people that are more likely to remember, trust, and ultimately purchase from brands that appear in a positive context. In a nutshell, it pays to be positive because positivity drives impact for brands at every stage of the purchase funnel. And speaking of positivity, seems like a great time for me to introduce our guest, Philip, from KaDeWe. Philip?
Hi, Stacy.
Hi, welcome. So glad you're here to join us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So, Philip, tell us a little bit about yourself and KaDeWe.
Yes, sure. So, my name, Philip. Hi, guys. I do the digital things at KaDeWe. I've been in this industry for almost 15 years now. Been a consultant, been a founder, where I actually miserably failed. I've been a consultant, as I mentioned, and product guy. So my background is more product and tech, but now I have the honor to do omni-channel, as we call it, at KaDeWe Group.
That's great. And you're an avid Pinterest user. What are you pinning these days?
So I just mentioned that I've been a founder, and it's been 10 years ago. And 10 years ago, I think it was a time when Pinterest came to Germany. And I always pitched my startup back in the days as the Pinterest for men.
I love that.
So we actually started back in the days growing an audience on Pinterest. And so when I just opened Pinterest this morning, I saw I still have 120,000 followers on Pinterest. So just like the rest of the startup that actually failed back in the days. And now I'm looking forward to using Pinterest also for our KaDeWe Group.
Love that. All right, so I talked about how I think it's a challenging time to be a marketer. Talk to us a little bit about your omni-channel strategy and how digital plays a role in that.
I mean, rough times for marketers, I think rough times for a lot of industries currently. I think since the beginning of the war last year, we've seen lots of pressure on acquiring new users, converting users to customers, and what we follow as a strategy at KaDeWe, we call it omni-channel strategy. So really offering all different touch points across the entire customer journey for our customers, and then kind of enable them to choose where they want to actually connect with us. Is it on a digital channel or in our stores, which are, I think, the most well-known brands and stores in Germany. And so when the war actually started, and we really saw, I think a lot of you guys as well, lots of pressure on the CPC, for example, you know? So people searched less, and Instagram, Facebook actually became a place where you saw lots of these non-very inspiring pictures, you know? And what we saw then at Pinterest was still like kind of this happy place, you know? So people were still kind of pinning things and looking for inspiration. And this was also the time when we really started to push for Pinterest as a channel. So
it's interesting because I mentioned that we have a kind of a unique audience on Pinterest. They're lean forward. They're coming to us with intent to purchase. And we're known as a positive place online. Talk to us how that influenced your partnership with Pinterest.
I mean, as I mentioned, like this happy place on Pinterest is also what we actually saw in our stores. I don't know, who of you have been to KaDeWe in Berlin?
It's a good showing. Like, it's a good showing.
More than half, I would say, right? So, and it's not just a store. It's a place to experience things, right? And what we also see is that people come to our store to kind of join this very close oasis of cool things, happy things, and really like to enjoy that time they spend at KaDeWe. And I would really compare this to Pinterest, as where we see lots of same things happening there, you know. And I would say this is like a really, really interesting match. What I also saw is like, as I mentioned 10 years ago, Pinterest was like very focused more on inspiring. And when we started Pinterest, I still thought the same, honestly. I said, well, Pinterest, it's more like from an upper funnel thing, you know. People get inspiration, but there's no way to convert, you know. And what we then saw is actually that people, they came to Pinterest to get inspired, but also with an intent who might purchase something. And this kind of worked out for us.
Yeah. So I want to dig in a little bit deeper there because a lot of people think of us as a upper funnel brand building platform and love us for that. But thousands of advertisers have used us successfully for performance driving, including yourselves. So maybe you could talk a little bit about, we've got a slide here, maybe you could talk a little bit about your success using us for performance.
Oh, surprise, you brought a slide.
Yeah.
Actually exactly matches what I want to say.
Proud of our case study, exactly.
What a coincidence. Yeah, so as I mentioned, we started with Pinterest more as an inspirational channel, but then we saw people were also converting. And to be able to measure it better, of course, we implemented the conversion API and really were able to attribute certain more conversions to Pinterest as a leading channel. And lots of very interesting things happened. So we focus on certain brands, more with a focus to attract new customers. And they were attracted, but they also converted. So we had brand campaigns with a ROAS of 4 to 5 sometimes, And one very funny example was that we launched a campaign with Tiffany. I guess you all know the jewelry brand, right? To kind of attract new customers to buy Tiffany, obviously. What we saw is that people clicked on this ad, were really attracted by and converted, but they didn't buy Tiffany. So they bought different things than Tiffany, but they were still attracted by this brand on Pinterest, something we actually didn't expect, And another very interesting thing was that people that purchased and came from Pinterest actually had the highest AOV of all other channels.
Interesting. You told me backstage that was better performer than even one of our competitors that's really known for performance.
Yeah. It's like this big search engine, maybe.
So Pinterest was the top performer. That's amazing.
Yeah, in terms of AOV, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that's been a secret to a lot of performance advertisers has been the API for conversions, because it just gives people a view into what they're actually driving on the platform. But sometimes we hear that it can be hard to get that prioritized in a company because it takes resources. Did you have any challenges, or do you have any tips for people here on how to get that prioritized?
Prioritization is, I think, the most important thing in a tech environment. The first thing was, of course, it was easy to implement, very straightforward. On the other hand, we just saw that Pinterest was working. We saw traffic coming in, converting, but not really able to, in the end, attribute all the conversions that actually saw from there. And therefore, it was obviously say, hey, there's a channel that might be performing very, very well, but we don't really see it. So let's prioritize and make it happen. And in the end, you see, it obviously helped us.
Yeah, amazing results. All right, so a key marketing objective that a lot of marketers have is to launch a new product. You guys recently had a very exciting product launch. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, maybe the question to the audience, maybe who knows which brand we just recently launched?
Let me go back.
Little spoiler. Actually, yeah, we launched Skims. I guess you know the brand, Kim Kardashian's shapewear brand. So we launched Skims exclusively last Sunday for our loyalty customers. And on Monday we had a big launch in Berlin in KaDeWe, because we're now the only retailer in Germany that is officially allowed to sell Skims. So it's exclusively available on KaDeWe.de and in our store KaDeWe. And when we kind of had the confirmation that we will be launching Skims, we really thought, what can we do to get everybody in Germany to know Skims will be available at KaDeWe. And of course, typical things are out of home, a launch event. But also we got introduced from your team to this new opportunity to use this Premier Spotlight that we booked for the last 3 days and reached over 2 million people over 3 days. So everybody in Germany who opened the Pinterest app and clicked on this little search icon saw this ad.
Love
which
that.
is I would say, a really, really good approach to tell everybody, go to KaDeWe and get Skims. And it worked. I mean, like people ran into our stores. I don't know if it's just because of this ad, you know.
Part of it.
But you know,
the full marketing mix, I'm sure.
Yeah. But we were really surprised by the very strong attention of Skims at KaDeWe.
So this is a relatively new ad offering. How do you think about testing new ad offerings, new opportunities? Is that part of your strategy to be innovative, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you always need to think about what can you do next. You know, the world is changing so quickly, and we see like when I joined KaDeWe, it was like almost 3 years ago. I joined in the middle of the pandemic. You know, so like all the sales skyrocketed, and everybody was like, "Wow, e-commerce is going through the roof." You know, this was like my first year or 1.5 years at KaDeWe, and then all the way around, you know, like, oh, how can we actually reduce costs, be more efficient, you know, less focus on scaling. And then what I just mentioned, we kind of identified Pinterest as a channel, you know, and what we also constantly do is to see what can we do next to improve our ROAS, really focus on ROAS right now, to be more efficient, you know, so testing new features on Pinterest, new campaigns we're doing on Pinterest as well. For Christmas, for example, is the next one we are planning to do.
That's great. Now, there's some nuances to having a luxury audience, especially in the digital space. Tell us about the challenges there.
Yeah, well, luxury is different, I would always say, you know? Especially in the digital world, luxury is way behind. You know, I would say like about 10 years behind the typical fashion industry, for example. So what we see, especially in our stores and online, is that people still tend to buy luxury offline. So we only have a digital penetration of about 25%, meaning the rest is still purchasing offline. But what we also see is that almost nobody just walks into the store, looks for something, and just buys it, you know? So there's always at least one touch point, digital touch point, ahead of the purchase in store. Meaning, if you don't happen on the other digital touch points, they will less likely come to your store to buy something, and you lose, obviously, sales and customer retention.
Right. You were saying that their expectation of the brand is higher, right? So your digital experience has to be even that much better.
I know. I mean, this is like, I would say, like the greatest challenge. I think all luxury brands and the big players like LVMH and Kering, they master it, and we are still trying to master it. It's a very, very tough challenge, you know, because the customer expectations, or the expectation of a customer who buys something for, I don't know, 15,000 euros is way higher than somebody who buys something for 50 euros, right?
Yeah.
So you need to be even more perfect on your customer experience, and this is, I would say, very unique to the luxury industry.
That's great. What's next for you in KaDeWe?
Oh, what's next? A lot of things are next. As I mentioned, on Pinterest, we're trying to do a lot of things. But one very important thing I need to address here, because this is a marketing conference, and so we're doing these cool things with Pinterest and many more, and I need somebody to lead this team. So I'm looking desperately for a head of digital marketing and CRM. So if somebody is interested.
So we've got a call to action at a marketing conference. If you're interested in hearing more about this role, come visit Philip in the Pinterest Lounge, or if you're interested in hearing more about Pinterest.
So doing digital marketing for the entire KaDeWe group.
It's a big job.
It's a very, very interesting job. So I will be at the Pinterest Lounge later on, so you can just meet me there and we can have a little speed interview maybe.
Love that. Thank you, Philip, for joining us, and thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thanks.